it to him, give it to him, give it to him, give it to him, give it to him. Now slide to the beat like, give it to him, 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 give it to him. I be cutting up like, move to the beat like, move to the beat like, move to the beat. Now slide to the beat like, move to the beat.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to My Curvy Life. Your girl, Miss Fonda, is here to give you just what you've been waiting for. A wonderful guest tonight on the show. I want to also say from my co-hosts, they welcome you as well, Miss LaTanya and Lasagna Jones. They are such dolls. I love them, and I say this every time, but I just love what they do. They are going to be in the audience, and they're going to be loving on you and responding to you. And also, if you have questions today on the show, please make sure you put those questions in the comment section, and I'll make sure our guests will be able to answer those questions for you. Thank you all for being a part of this entity. You know, I do not take it lightly. I appreciate each and every one of you. We are still climbing to that 1,000-member group member in the group page. I think we're at 730, so it's kind of stuck right now, but I know we're going to make that 1,000 by the end of the year. That is my wish. However, I just don't stop at 1,000, of course, but the more the merrier. And I appreciate all of you and your support. I thank you guys that are like really getting involved and putting posts and different things of that nature, affirmations, positive notes into the group page. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I am doing much better. I'm so busy though, sometimes I'm not able to, but my co-hosts, they do an excellent job at keeping posts coming through the group page, the My Curvy Life group page. So thank you guys for all of your support. I do want to make a few announcements before we let our lovely guests in. I want to let you know that right now, the holiday season is here, y'all. The holiday season is here, fastly approaching. And this year, what I'm going to do is I am asking for you guys, if you would help me in this endeavor, is to sponsor a grandparent. And what I mean by that is I go to the senior citizen living facilities on Christmas Eve, and I like to deliver some foot and leg cream and or also hand cream for our seniors. And with every sponsorship, which sponsoring a grandparent is only $12, I will add in a pair of socks. So I'm going to give either footies or socks with the sponsorship of a foot and leg cream and or hand lotion. So that is what I am desiring to give back. And I hope that you guys would join in with me in the supporting that to our senior citizens living facility, to our senior citizens. They paved the way for us. You know, holidays are tough for some people, you know, and with the senior citizens, a lot of times they probably lost their family. They may be left, the only one left, or, you know, they've lost their siblings, and, you know, it can be a lonely time. And I could imagine, you know, being in the facility and, you know, not being able to celebrate holidays like you used to. And, you know, I want to be able to make some joy in this holiday season, and I hope that some of you will come and join in with me to making their Christmas or their holiday season joyful. So if you would support me in that, I have posters out. You can make your contributions through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. I take cash. But what I do is for every sponsor, for everyone that you sponsor, I will give a pair of footies with that. And I'll have it all wrapped up in a nice little package, and I may throw a little candy canes in there or something of the such. But it's something that I enjoy doing. I love giving back, and I appreciate all of you who join in with me and contribute. Usually it's the senior citizen. It's not the senior citizen living facility. It was last year giving back to the homeless, and we did hat, gloves, and socks. So this year I'm gonna alternate every other year, but I do want to remember our senior citizens. Okay, so if you would help me in that endeavor, I would greatly appreciate it. And I know what's most important is that our senior citizens living facility would appreciate it as well. Um, and of course, God always bless you. When you're a blessing to others, trust and believe you will be blessed. So thank you guys so much. I do also want to mention Mary Kay Cosmetics, y'all. Y'all know I am a Mary Kay consultant. I'm also a skin coach. I do believe in great skin care, not just good, but great. And Mary Kay is the #1 top selling brand for skin care. All right. I just want y'all to know that. They've held that title for a long time. So, excuse me. If you would like to learn more about taking care of your skin, we have some awesome body products. I got you. All right. So keep your eyes open, ears. Reach out to me. I can do private consultations. I can do parties. Let me be a part of your Christmas party. Okay. And let's make that with Mary Kay Cosmetics. So thank you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm so happy about our guests. I'm always happy about all our guests, of course, but I have been like highly anticipating her. I think she's a beautiful person. And it's so neat when, you think you know someone because you know them from a certain entity, but then you read their bio and you're like, oh my God, she does all this or they do all this. So I'm going to go ahead and read her bio. So today we have Miss Shawntal M. Mallory. She is a seasoned, nonprofit executive, leadership trainer, keynote speaker, civic leader, and a licensed attorney, y'all. Shawntal serves as an executive director of Nebraska Legal Diversity Council, where she leads the organization's efforts to increase diversity and accelerate inclusion in the practice of law and law school uh, across the state of Nebraska. I'm sorry, I got twisted there. As part of her commitment of transforming the legal sector, Shawntal serves as an adjunct professor at the Creighton University of Law. She also serves as a senior advisor for the Vokti Group, a Chicago-based boutique global management consultancy, and provides independent diversity, equity, and inclusions consulting and coaching for many corporations and organizations across the country. Miss Mallory is a high sought after speaker, trainer, coach, and consultant on issues of diversity, equity, and inclusions, access, justice, and belonging, as well as topics around executive leadership and professional development. An Omaha native, Miss Mallory holds a BA in Communication Studies and a JD from Creighton University and executive certificates in nonprofit executive leadership and leading equity and inclusions in organizations from Northwestern University, Kellogg School of Management, and School of Education and Social Policy, respectively. I am so honored to have her on the show. I'm going to go ahead and get her added right in here. Give me just a moment. Well, hello there, lady.
Hey, so happy to join you. Finally, right?
Thank you. Welcome to my right.
We were
Welcome
talking
to
about
my
before.
Kirby life,
I'm
honey.
so excited.
Thank you
I
so
love the
much. I'm
show.
excited, girl.
Good to
You're
see
so
you
cute.
too. Aw, thank you. So are you.
It's so good to see you, girl.
You too.
I just love you. And I'm not just saying that. You're like one of my favorite people from afar. I would say from afar
I
because
love you too.
and you know what I love so much about you too. One of the things that hair, girl.
She stays trying to steal my hair, y'all.
I said, give me that hair. Every time I see her, I want that hair. She has such gorgeous hair, but she's
Oh,
the
thank you.
sweetest. Thank you so much for saying yes to me. I appreciate you so much. Girl, I did not know. Now I knew you was a lawyer,
Yes.
but I was not aware of all this. Okay. And like I said in the beginning of the show, it's so interesting. You think you know somebody until you read that bio.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're like, wow.
Right.
So, oh my God, I don't even know where to start, girl. You got me baffled up in here. So, so I'm gonna start with, okay, what made you want to get into law and become a lawyer? Let's start there.
Sure. Yeah, good question. So first off, just thank you for even desiring to hear a little bit about my story. I share it all the time, but I always would prefer to share it with my people. So having this as a platform to potentially inspire somebody else to think about pursuing a career in the law means a lot to me and the work that I do.
Yes.
So originally I thought I wanted to be a doctor. I knew I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, but I actually started out with a completely different major. I went to college in a bio pre-med major, and I got into my classes and I was like, this ain't it. So I always tell people that so that they know it's okay to change your mind. Like it's okay to explore other things. It's okay to think you want to do something and then, decide later, no, this isn't it. And you should listen to that little voice that says, this isn't it, and switch lanes. It's okay. Change is good. So I started out as a biology pre-med major. I knew I wanted to go to college like pretty much my whole life. And I knew that my parents probably couldn't pay for it. So I was like really out here grinding, trying to get scholarship money and stuff. Creighton gave me a scholarship money and I started going there right after I graduated from high school. And I just knew that I had 4 years on this scholarship and I had to get it done because I didn't have any other money to do it. So I did that. After my freshman year, I had been taking my science classes and I was like, this is not it. Like I am struggling, like grinding just to get like a low B, and I was like, it just doesn't feel natural. It's not stuff that I'm interested in. And so I switched lanes. I changed my major to communication studies. And I knew that I probably wanted to go to law school. I had done debate in the past and public speaking and all those kinds of things. And I saw a flyer on campus for the pre-law club and mock trial team. I locked in with them and I started competing and I was like, yep, this is it. Like, you know how you just kind of have that moment where you're like, this is it. This works for me. And so I did that. I started to apply to law school and ended up going to law school at Creighton. And so that's how I decided that I wanted to be an attorney. And I think what attracted me to it was, the public speaking, the arguing, some of us love to argue. I'm one of the people. So, I'm going to win. I'm going to prove my point. You are going to agree with me at the end of this conversation. And so that's kind of what motivated me. And then just the desire to help people. That's at the forefront of every single thing that I do is how can I make a difference in the world? How can this be a part of the purpose that God placed me on this earth floor for? And so I found that in law practice, and that's why I pursued it and how I pursued it.
Wow, that's wonderful, girl. You got to be smart to be a lawyer, girl. So you smart over there.
I have a lot of people who supported me. Like I said, my parents, paid a lot. My mom worked in the hospital system all her life as a unit secretary. My dad was a city bus driver. So, my parents were blue collar workers. They had me when they were young, and they ended up not finishing their college career because they had kids to take care of. And so I owe a great deal to my parents. They have sacrificed so much because they saw the potential in me and wanted to make sure that I lived my dream. So I always shout my parents out, because I wouldn't be the person
Yes.
I am without my parents, without the rest of my family, my friends, my village. So it's not just me. Like, this is a whole bunch of people who said, I see something in you. I believe in you. Do it. Push me forward. Sometimes people didn't. I was the first in my family to like go through college, go to law school. So they didn't always know what I needed, but they were like, here's $30 for groceries, or, whatever. I'm proud of you and I hope you make it. And that stuff meant the world to me. So, I don't sit here today because of anything that I've done necessarily. God is good. God is amazing. And he is the only reason why I'm where I am today, especially living in a place like Omaha, Nebraska, where, not very many of us really get to do this kind of thing. So it's nothing that I take for granted. It's nothing that I say, oh, I'm just that great. I have a lot of blessings and a lot of people who supported me. And that's how I got through it, because it was tough. So, yeah.
It's always wonderful to be able to recognize, we know, being that we are in church, we know who's the source.
Right.
We know who the source, and that's God. But it's really, really amazing when you have a support system. I've heard that with a lot of people that have had big accomplishments. You have a support system. So very, very, very good. So can I ask, what type of lawyer are you? Because I know there's different types of lawyers. So what do you represent?
Thank you for the opportunity to share that, because I get calls about everything, and I'm like, that's not in my wheelhouse. Like, I don't know anything about it. And so I try to
do everything.
Right. I try to explain to people, like, you wouldn't go to your doctor and be like, your foot doctor, and be like, can you look at this tooth? They don't. Their specialty is feet, honey. If you got something wrong with your feet, then you come to me. So that's kind of the same way, where you wouldn't go to your history teacher and say, can you help me with this math problem? So my primary concentration has been in family law, specifically in juvenile law. I represented a lot of kids over the past 18 years in juvenile court, mostly in the abuse and neglect proceedings against their parents, unfortunately. But there are a lot of Black and brown and Native children who are in the foster care system. And so that has been a big piece of my purpose, is to protect those kids and represent them. I've also done a lot of like human resources and employment law stuff. And I dabbled in a couple of other things. I tried criminal law for a while. I didn't like it as much. I did some business law, didn't like it as much. I think my sweet spot is kind of this public interest stuff, and really making sure that people who can't afford representation have an attorney. Children are represented. Children have the least rights out of everyone. They are the least protected out of everyone. And so I have a deep passion for making sure that kids are okay. And so that's been the bulk of my career, has been family law, specifically tailored toward kids. But I also enjoy employment law as well. Making sure that people aren't being discriminated against in the workplace is a big deal for me. It's a big deal for us as Black women. We experience that all day, every day. And so I wanted to make sure that the work I did was something that benefited us.
That is amazing, because, recently I think a lot of businesses have been creating the diversity departments, and the it was called inclusion. Okay, wait a minute. Accelerating inclusion or something of that. Can you explain to me exactly what that means? Diversity and inclusion. I believe it was what you had in here.
Yep.
What does that stand for?
So, sometimes you'll hear it termed DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Yeah. And so that work has been going on. It's nothing new, but there's been a lot of attention brought to it in the last couple of years. But people have been fighting for equal rights since this country was founded, because this country was founded on, principles of enslavement and genocide and all those things. So our ancestors were brought here primarily as slaves. And there's not that connection to our mother country. You have to really go dig that out and search for that. So there's a huge legacy of marginalization in this country, people being on the outside of opportunities. And so right around 2020 or so, we were in the midst of the pandemic or coming right out of the pandemic. There was the George Floyd murder. And I call it a murder purposely because that's what it was.
Yes.
And so when that happened, a lot of, we were all at home. What else could we do? We were in the middle of the pandemic, and everybody saw that play out on TV. And there was this collective outrage about, discrimination, the lack of opportunities, police brutality, and just all the things that have been, that Black people have been going through, and people of color, as a general group have been going through for years and years. And so that kind of got elevated. So you had all these corporations racing to issue these public statements saying, we believe in equity, we believe in inclusion, we want to make sure that people have an equal opportunity or an equitable opportunity to participate in our professional work. We want to make sure our clients, our vendors are diverse, all of that stuff. So, diversity, equity, and inclusion work really centers around making sure that people have representation in the professional sector, the public world, all of those things. And so a lot of us who do this work really do a lot of training, coaching, advising on how corporations can get better at hiring people who are diverse, who represent a diverse pool of applicants. But not only that, not just like counting the crayons in the box, but making sure when people come into the corporation, they're treated equitably and they have opportunities to move up in the company. And, they're supported, they're not singled out, they're not facing microaggressions and racism in their job. They're free to show up as their authentic selves. We're free to wear our hair the way we want to. We can speak the way we normally speak. We don't have to code switch and change things out. And so a lot of diversity, equity, and inclusion is recognizing that everybody is different, and that's okay. Everybody should be, we should be a kind human being toward everybody, just because someone is of a different race or a different gender or a different sexual orientation, or, maybe they have a disability or some other type of neurodiversity, they think differently, or they're on the spectrum of autism or whatever it is. There are a variety of categories, but those people have a place in the workplace and they can show up and be themselves and be respected for that. Like I know you have, a very lengthy career. I know are you close to retirement? Have you retired yet?
Girl, I'm eligible for retirement May 1st of next year, 2025.
Excellent. So I know you've been at this prominent corporation. I know you are excited about Act 2 for you and what you're going to get to do after that. So I congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
Amazing. And, I will say in coming into OPPD on a regular basis, you are one of the only Black faces that I see right there, front and center.
For many years.
Yeah, that means a lot. And so I can only imagine what you've, some of the things that you may have encountered throughout the course of your career. Not to say that you're at a bad corporation, but people are people everywhere.
If I could tell the story, if I could tell the story, I would.
So that's the work that I do, is trying to make it better for the people who come after you, so that they can say, things are better. I feel like I can be authentic at work. I feel like I'm not being mistreated. I have opportunities to move up. And so that's kind of what that work is rooted in.
Thank you for explaining that, because a lot of people don't know what that means. And I just kind of wanted to know a little bit more detail myself. Now, in working with that, do you feel like it's getting better nowadays? I mean, if I was to look back, I would say, yes, it's getting better. But since you are in that field, would you say that it's getting better, or there's still a lot of work to do in that area?
I will say that we have made some improvements, but there is still yet a lot of work to do, especially in this country. And it feels like for every improvement we make, every time I feel like we're just on the cusp of being there where people get it, we some people are resistant to that. And so you see, I kind of describe it as, I don't know if you remember those old grandfather clocks and that pendulum just kind of swung back and forth. I feel like that happened. So we had that era where we had like Barack Obama, we got our first black president, and the pendulum swung this way. And, we got affordable health care and, a bunch of other things that were championed for. And then once he was out of office, people said, oh, that's what you got? All right, well, watch this. And you see the pendulum swing all the way back the other way. And there are a lot of people who are resistant to that. And so we still have a lot of work to do. We don't see as much of that overt racism that, some of our ancestors and some of the elders in our family saw with the whites only establishments and the water fountains and, fire hoses and dogs being sicked on us. And we can't move about in certain ways. I can walk into any establishment pretty much. I can, get on a flight. I can stay at a hotel. I can do all those things that they really couldn't do back then. However, there are other more covert, more subtle things that happen. We're on the age of the internet. Some of the stuff I see on the internet, some of the comments people make, some of the racism that you see get promoted, it's a lot. We just came out of a very tumultuous election period. There's just a lot going on in this country. We have a lot of work to do. I don't know if we will ever completely overcome, but we have made some strides. We have, people who are CEOs and, people who own businesses and people, we have Black millionaires and billionaires and professors and all of these things. And, we've made strides, but we still have so far to go. There's so much that we haven't even really scratched the surface on by way of making sure that things are equitable for us and that we feel like we're included in the different systems. There's the education system, the justice system. There's still a lot of healthcare discrimination, a lot of misdiagnosis with people of color, with Black people, with Black women. We have a ton of issues. There's always work to do. So I'm never going to tell anybody, no, we're good. We don't have any work to do. We always have work to do. And there's always somebody who's resistant for whatever reason. There are people who feel like if we gain power and equality, then it's some type of, slight to them. One person getting equal rights doesn't mean that you don't have your power and equality. So until we change and shift some of those mindsets, there's always going to be work to do. I teach a class at Creighton Law School called Race and Law, and we examine the history of racism from the founding of the country to present day. And when I tell you there's a lot. And, oftentimes I will show videos to my students and, the videos might be in black and white because it was during the civil rights movement.
Right.
It wasn't that long ago. My mother was born in 58. My father was born in 53. The civil rights movement, really gained most of its gains in the 60s. So this is during my parents' lifetime. This is one generation ago when people were fighting for rights. So we still have a lot. That's a long-winded answer to say we still got that's okay.
I wanted and I wanted to elaborate on some of the things you said. I'm a very firm believer in like voting. I'm going to use that as an example because I look back at our ancestors and I look back at, back in the Martin Luther King days and when, they suffered so much so that we could have a right, just to have a voice, you know what I mean? And so, I believe that everybody, especially now, should use that voice because they fought for that voice for us. They suffered. Some even died for us to have this voice to be able to, have an equal opportunity. Now, I'm not going to say how equal it is, but we do have a voice. I had Mr. Love on that was running for Senate on the show a few weeks ago. And one of the things he said was, he said, even if I don't win the election, the fact that I'm able to have a voice, being a candidate, he said, I will always be able to have a voice. And that means a lot. You know what I mean? Because when we look back at our ancestors, they didn't have a voice.
Right.
They couldn't just show up and, Martin Luther King, he brought all that out for us, you know, and
Mhm.
so that's why, you know, I like to take that day off because it's not like given to us. We don't acknowledge it, but I do take that day off because I want to give, you know, thanks to Martin Luther King for being able to get us to having that dream, girl, to get us
Mhm.
to being able to have a voice, to have a right, to be have an equal opportunity to vote. You know, and sometimes for me it wasn't because this was a tough election,
Mhm.
but what made me happy was the fact that we were able to vote, you know, and that's a privilege, and I'm thankful, and we owe that to our ancestors, okay, for
Absolutely.
fighting for us to do that. So thank you for fighting in this realm of things,
Mhm.
you know, for us, you know what I mean, because a lot of people don't like to touch this type of, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna touch it. I'm gonna keep touching it, because we just have so much work to do. You know, there's just, and it can be discouraging. I'm not going to say that
Oh, I can imagine.
this past week has been a lot. It's been a lot to process. It's been a lot to deal with. It's been
Mm,
a lot to pick yourself back up and say, I should continue to do this work when there are obviously people who don't want us to do this work, who don't want us to have equal rights. There are people who want to dial things back in our country, but you know, it is
yes.
important that we stay in that fight. And oftentimes I feel convicted when I think about not doing this work, and I think about what if back in the civil rights movement, leaders like MLK and Medgar Evers and others who, you know, were right side by side, like they bus boycotted for a year. They walked to work for a year. Do you know what kind of commitment that is? Half of us couldn't walk to work
Yes.
for a week, you know,
Come
much,
on now.
you know,
Walk.
so, right. You know, we have to realize the power that we have,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
power that our dollar has, the power that you talked about our voice. That is absolutely important. People often ask me, like, do you want to run for an office? I don't, because I want to be able to, and I admire people who run for office, and I love to be involved in politics. I love to push candidates forward. I love to mobilize people to vote, educate people. You know, I had made announcements at my church. If anybody needs help understanding their ballot, these ballot initiatives are wordy and they're confusing, and I don't know,
Girl, I
do I
was
vote
like,
for it
okay.
or do I
I
vote
was sitting up
against
looking at
it?
the paper like, okay,
Yeah,
what does that mean? Okay, so should I?
right, right.
I mean, I
You know,
was
there's
studying the
20
thing.
judges. Who are these judges? Are they good? Are they not? You know, so I had conversations with people in my church, like, if you need help, you want to go through your ballot together and understand, I'm willing to do that. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to do, more of that behind the scenes stuff, because I want to use my voice and I want to say whatever I want to and not have to worry about being reelected or anything like that. So I feel like there's
Yes.
a place and a purpose for everybody. And I feel like mine is more of an activist and more of somebody who's like behind the scenes trying to propel other people forward. So, you know, kudos, big shout out to Preston Love Jr. for running. It takes a lot to put yourself under that spotlight and that scrutiny. And we had some really good candidates. Kamala Harris was an amazing candidate. What she did in 100 days, 107 days, is probably going to be studied for a long time to come, because she raised billions of dollars. She had so many people behind her. So it's really disappointing that they're not ready for a very qualified Black woman to lead. You know, she inspires me a lot. She's an attorney too. She started out, you know, as an attorney. And so there are just so many people out there. One little known fact is that Black women attorneys, we make up less than 2% of the profession. Less than 2%.
Mm.
We are literally the unicorns of the profession. And so when I see somebody of her caliber, it's inspiring. Michelle Obama was an attorney. That's inspiring. Those are the things that keep me going, because we have had some prominent women in some great places. She's vice president of the United States right now. Like, that's a bad woman.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
that's a
You
bad
know,
woman, second in command.
I was looking at that, and you know, and it's really sad because I think she had a lot of good points, a lot of good views. I
Mhm.
think she would have been a very good president, you know. But
Yeah,
I just feel like you said, people are just not ready for it, and they just didn't want to like really give her that chance, and
right,
you know. But you know, what I love about our culture and our people is that we don't give up. We keep pushing.
right.
You know what I'm saying? We keep, you know, fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. Preston Love Jr., he was saying that, it takes, we needed to start building together and keeping money in our community. And they're working on projects right now in North Omaha over on 24th Street, where
Right.
they're trying to rebuild and revamp and, get businesses in there. I remember, because I'm probably a little bit older than you. You're not 50 yet, are you?
Next year. Next year is my
Ah,
50th
okay.
year.
Well, okay, welcome to the 50 Club, girl. But no,
Yay.
I'm a little bit older than you, but I remember as a kid, when I thought of seeing the community, we had like cleaners down on 24th Street. We had
Absolutely.
grocery stores. We had, just all kind of businesses.
It was full
We had
up
two
there.
barbecue joints, and
Mhm.
you know, everybody like hung down on that strip. Everybody supported that strip. We kept money in the community. I'm
Mhm.
not sure what happened and what started fading that. But I'm excited about what Mr. Love was saying about rebuilding, that community and being able to have businesses down there where people can rent out for banquets and different
Right.
different programs. And I think I'm looking forward to that because I think that's a good opportunity for us to get it together this time and stay together. You
Yes.
know what I mean?
That's my hope.
Um, I think a lot of times, in our culture, people like work against each other, and instead of working together, you know what I
Right.
mean? Instead of seeing what if everybody letting everybody eat, as they say,
Right.
you can eat, I can eat, they can eat, we can all eat.
And we don't have to compete. There is enough to go around for everyone.
Exactly.
Everybody has a
Exactly.
lane. Everybody has talents. So I think we have to. One of the things that I hope this election, the results of this election, have reminded us as Black people is that nobody's going to come and save us from anything. It's on us to save ourselves. It's on us to band together. We have enough talent. We have enough resources, money, knowledge in this community that we could do amazing things, and we just have to unite and do that. So yeah, all of that sounds amazing. And when I was younger, I remember the development of 24th Street, and it was
Mhm.
I remember 24th and 30th, to be honest, were popping with
Yeah.
businesses and everything else.
Yeah.
And then I remember I love black and white, and I'm just a nerd, so I love history and stuff like that. So I remember reading up on like the Dreamland Ballroom and Preston Love's father, and Count Basie, and all of these like amazing historical Black musicians that would come through and
Yeah.
play on 24th Street. We had our own clubs because we couldn't get into other clubs. We couldn't get into other universities. So we founded historically Black colleges and universities. The same way that we innovated and we came together to do those things in the past, we can do that now. We're resilient. Black people are resilient. We'll make it through. We're going to be okay.
Yes.
And I know there are a lot of people who are like really looking at the outcome of this election and just, I've talked to a lot of people. People are tired, but we'll get it back. We'll energize ourselves and we'll unite and we'll get it done. I have that faith in us as a culture.
And let me say something about that. I had put because I'm like the TikTok queen right now, but I had put a TikTok video out in this video out, and the song is by J Moss, and it's called "God's Got It."
Uh-huh.
Okay, God's got it.
Mhm.
And I listed a few things. I said I put the election, I put bills, I put just several things,
Yeah,
strolling up there. And I pointed up to those things and I said, you know what? God's got it.
right,
When it's all said and done, irregardless, God's got it.
right.
He's going to make sure that everything is, as long as we trust him, what I mean, and lean on him. And if you really look at it in Martin Luther King days, who was the forefront of that whole thing?
Ministers,
God.
the Black church, God. We are a
God.
people of faith. We really, how else could you have gotten through slavery and Jim Crow and all of these other horrible things that have happened to us in this country? God, like we are God's chosen people. I truly believe that about Black people. So I know we'll be
God's
okay.
got it.
we will lean on our faith. We will, we will reorganize and we will live to fight another day. I really do hope that the Black church continues to push itself toward the forefront because we need that. We need faith. We need leaders who have a moral compass and who have integrity. And so we need all that stuff. We just have to recenter and strategize and come out and just continue to do what we've been doing. So I think we'll be okay.
Yes, I believe that wholeheartedly.
Right.
I think, again, it was a lot of disappointment, but,
Mhm.
if we get back hold to that faith and, sometimes things happen for a reason so that we can get back to where we need to be. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because sometimes we start putting our trust in different things naturally around here when we should have always, our pastor preaches and he used to always say, your job is not your source. God is your source. And,
Absolutely.
with a bunch of changes happening right now as I speak, I had to remember that and I had to recognize that. And that's what's been keeping me at a peace, because we're making a lot of changes. A lot of companies are making a lot of changes, and I'm going to blame it on the pandemic. When that pandemic came in, it just opened up like a whole new world that this could be, that you don't need this, you don't need that. And,
Right.
it's been a big challenge. It's been a big challenge, but again, God's got it. So that's where
Absolutely.
I'm at. Now,
Yes.
I wanted to also ask you your services, as a lawyer. If someone wanted to get in touch, I want her to represent me, or how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, I'm pretty much an open book, especially for my people. And I try to be as available as I can to people. I'm not currently right now, like taking active cases. I run a nonprofit organization that's trying to get more people who look like us in the field. And so that takes up a lot
Okay.
of my time. It's a social impact organization, and there are a bunch of law firms and corporations. Our two law schools, we have one in Lincoln at UNL and one at Creighton, where I went to school. And then the Bar Association. All those people come together to support the work that I'm doing. And so that takes up a lot of my time, and I'm not actively doing cases. My license is active, of course. But what I try to do, since I'm not taking cases, is refer people to the network of Black attorneys that I have. So we have a Midlands Bar Association, which is the Bar Association for Black and African attorneys of African descent. We have a good sized group of really competent attorneys. And so that's what I try to do. I try to match people up with my colleagues and my friends that I know will do a good job and represent them. And so that's how I try to do it, because like I said, there's enough to go around for everyone. We can all eat. We have to be able to refer people. And so I do that. And I refer people to people who I know will do a good job like I would do if I had taken
Yeah.
on the case. Um,
Yes.
I can't give actual legal advice to people. There are rules around, how we do that. And so I try to be very clear with people. I can point you kind of in the right direction. I can help you with guidance. I can give you some resources, or I can refer you to people. But I have to be careful about, the way I do actually giving legal advice, because there can be an attorney-client relationship established. So
Gotcha.
I try to be clear with people about that because I don't want any misunderstandings. I do enjoy practicing law. I want to keep my license. I try to operate above the board. So when I'm not taking cases, I do try to refer people to other Black attorneys. And, I've had conversations recently with Willie Barney and some others about establishing a directory of Black attorneys, so people can know, hey, these are the people you can go to if you have a criminal issue or a family issue, or you want to start a business and you need someone to help you with your LLC paperwork, or you're buying a house and you want somebody to review your contracts, your land contract, or whatever it is. We have Black attorneys who operate in almost every different specialty. And so I try to refer people to people who are doing that right now while I'm not doing those types of cases.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. And that just means that you're not a hater.
Oh, never that.
You're going to allow,
Never been a hater.
people
Satan blocks your blessings. I need all my blessings.
Right, I know that's right, but I mean, some people be like, "No, I'm gonna go ahead and take this. I ain't gonna get it." Yeah, but thank you for that. You know what I mean, for looking out for your other colleagues, you know what I mean, who do what you do.
I need them
I'm,
around. I need them to be out here too. I can't do everything by myself, and so anybody
amen.
they can't, like I'm happy to give business to other people. And there are some amazing Black attorneys in this city. There really are. And so
Wow.
I want to make sure people that get connected with who they need, and I want to make sure, like, when people contact you needing legal advice, sometimes they're going through the most difficult situations in their life.
Yes.
I want to make sure that I get them with somebody who's going to take good care of them, right?
Yes.
Because it's already hard enough navigating life or facing criminal charges or being sued for something,
Girl.
whatever it is, or getting sold a
Yes.
bad car. You want somebody who's going to take good care of you. And so I try to direct them to colleagues who are going to do that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love it. I love it. I want to ask one last question before we wrap it up, or should
Okay.
what I would like for you to do, if there may be somebody out here that's like, man, I want to do what she's doing. I want to get more in, I want to become a lawyer, or I want to be a public speaker, or, just the realm of the things that you are doing, because you're doing a lot. And that's a blessing. So what would be your advice? What would be a golden nugget is what I like to say, or nuggets with an S that you can leave with the people today?
Yeah, great question. First of all, I get excited about helping people do what I do, because like I said, I can't do everything. And if you're not creating a pathway behind you to bring people up, then you're not doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish at the time that I went to law school, I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have another Black woman that I knew that was an attorney that I could go to and ask questions of. Until I actually got in that arena, I met people like Brenda Council, who is very open and provided opportunities for me. So shout out to Brenda, one of my favorite people in the world. But, she gave me my first opportunity to be on TV and just to do a lot of things. And so, I'm very unapologetic about saying that the majority of the great opportunities that I've gotten have been because another Black person recommended me. And so I think what I would suggest for advice to people is seek out a mentor. Seek out somebody you can learn from, you can shadow, that you can sit down and spend time and ask, what's your day like as an attorney? What do you actually do? Because some people, like, I had a thought that I wanted to be a doctor. And then when I got into studying, I was like, this ain't what I thought it was going to be. I would have known that maybe if I would have got a chance to talk to a Black woman who was a doctor so she could tell me what it was like. So reach out to me. I'm very open. I have meetings with students and people who are interested in the law all the time. That's part of the work that I do with the Legal Diversity Council. But finding a mentor is huge. Finding someone to sponsor you. There's a little bit of a difference between a mentor and a sponsor. A mentor is going to share, what you call those golden nuggets. They're going to help you navigate. A sponsor is going to speak your name in rooms where you might not be, and you might not even know that I'm saying, Fonda would be great at this. You need to get a hold of her. Let me connect you. Let me send this email and connect y'all. So finding mentors, finding sponsors, doing research is huge. We have this amazing internet and you can look up, so much stuff. So get out there and see what does it take? How much does it cost to go to law school? What can I get involved in that will help me with my public speaking skills if I want to be a public speaker? Doing things like what you're doing out in the community, spreading good news, interviewing people, putting people on to there's no big mystery in what I do. I'm happy to give that away. I would love for people to be able to do what I do. And so I'm always willing to sit down, especially with another Black woman, and, just share information. And so it's really having the courage to seek that out. Because sometimes it can be a little intimidating to, go up to somebody you don't know and be like, hey, can I sit down and pick your brain about what you know? But that's part of the process to learn, how people do things. And I encourage other professional Black women and just professional people in general to share what you know. Like that's how we put other people on. And do so. So, those would be my kind of nuggets, is to really do your research, to find somebody to mentor you, to shadow, to find out the ins and outs, the behind the scene things. Be gracious to everybody. You never know who you're going to meet in some other, walk of life. So be kind to everybody. When I was practicing law in the court system, I was nice to the secretary, to the bailiff, to the woman that checked me in at the front desk. Those are the people that, everybody's kissing the judges behind. That's fine. But his bailiff is the one that sets the schedule. So you're going to be at the front of the list, or you're going to be at the end of the list. You talk to the bailiff. I'm good morning. How are you today?
Right.
So I love to mentor people. I've mentored several different women. I have a mentee that I'm so proud of. She's a grown woman now. She went to school in Iowa. She's practicing. She works for Union Pacific. She's making a lot of money, way more than I made in my first job. And I'm like, great. I'm glad. That means that I have given you some
Right.
tools that I didn't have. I was looking at Claire Huxtable on the Cosby Show, didn't know her, but that was my role model. She had an in-life role model that shared information with her. So that's what we got to do. We have that responsibility to do it. Don't be intimidated. Be confident. Don't think that you're less than. All of us started somewhere. The vast majority of us grew up in North Omaha. I went to Girls Club, Girls Inc. I went to Wesley House. I am a product of public programs, after school programs, people who saw potential in me and poured into me. And so really part of that is just reaching out to people, taking that chance, and taking somebody else under your wing. And if anybody else who's a professional Black woman sees this and you're not mentoring anybody, this is your challenge to go out and do that, because it's that important.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Girl, I might have you mentoring me. You never know. But
you
I
need to
appreciate
mentor
you
me.
so
I want to
much.
be able to sing like you, because you can sing. We've been in the choir together. I heard you on the road behind me.
Hey, that's God's given gift and talent, girl. I give him all the glory and praise for that. I thank you so much, Shawntal. Thank you so much for being on the show today. And all I'm going to ask from you is that if you would share this entity, you would share, my show. I'm going to send you the information on when we're going to be listening to your lovely voice here. And I want you to just share with people about this entity. My goal is to gather and get information to help each other, to build each other, to encourage each other, and learn. Right. I'm learning so much. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, there's so much out here, and I'm like, man, I just want to learn. I mean, what do they do? What do they do? And it's interesting, and I can take these things and I can apply them to my life, and as well as other people, they can apply what you said today, and so I just appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad we got a chance to link up. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And I'm going to always love you, and I'm always going to love that hair.
Go on and take a bundle or two. Go on and take it, girl.
Girl, come on, flip it off for me, okay? But thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll be seeing each other in this community. I'm not sure if you're going to be in the Christmas deal. I was supposed to be in it, and I didn't get a chance to go.
Come on back next year. We're in year 11, so hopefully everybody will come to Joyful Noise this year.
Yes. I'm going to attempt to be in it next year. As I get into retirement, I'll have a lot more time. Right. But
I'm jealous.
I'm not saying I'm gonna go next year, but that eligibility is going to be nice. We'll put it that way. Okay. So my Curvy Life, this is going to wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let's give our guest, and I'm going to give it on behalf of the whole Curvy Life audience, a hand. Thank you. Much love, girl, until we meet again. And as the song say, we're going to give it to him. Ha, ha, ha. Give it to him. Give it to him. Hey. Ain't that what we talking about? We gonna give it to him, girl. I will pretend. So thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Give it to him. 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 Now slide to the beat like, give it to him.